Right now, the US government is hitting pause on science itself. Entire research projects from medicine to space are being shut down. The question is, why? With the federal government shutdown, agencies like the NIH and major universities have been forced to freeze projects, cut off funding, and even send scientists home. But how did we get here? And what does it mean for the future of science, health, and innovation? Why is the US government shutting down research in the first place? The short answer: politics and money. Every year, Congress has to pass a budget or at least a temporary spending bill to keep the government running. When lawmakers can't agree on how to allocate funds, the government enters what's called a shutdown. That means many federal agencies lose access to money for non-essential operations until a deal is reached. In this latest shutdown, disagreements over healthcare funding, education priorities, and federal spending caps created a deadlock in Washington. Both parties dug in, refusing to compromise, and research programs got caught in the crossfire. Agencies like the National Institutes of Health, which funds everything from cancer studies to vaccine development, suddenly had to halt the approval of new grants. Universities that rely on federal dollars received stop work orders, forcing labs to pause ongoing projects. Even scientists working on urgent health issues, like Alzheimer's or pandemic preparedness, have been sidelined. Earlier in 2025, the administration had already imposed freezes and cuts on research budgets, arguing that money should be shifted toward other national priorities. Some critics claimed those moves were politically motivated, targeting projects seen as controversial or unnecessary. Supporters, however, said the cuts were needed to control federal spending. The shutdown only amplified this fight. What began as a broader budget battle quickly turned into a crisis for the research community. Years of progress in labs across the country were put on hold, not because of failed experiments, but because of failed negotiations in Congress. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. When the government decides to shut down research, especially on sensitive topics like advanced AI, space exploration, or medical breakthroughs, it's not just about saving money or reallocating funds. It's about controlling what information reaches the public. If a certain study has the potential to shake up industries, challenge existing power structures, or reveal uncomfortable truths, pulling the plug is the easiest way to make sure it never sees daylight. And here's the catch. Most of the time, these shutdowns don't mean the research just vanishes. Instead, it often goes behind closed doors. What was once public knowledge becomes classified. This means taxpayers may have funded research they'll never even know about. It's like buying a ticket to a show and then being locked outside while the performance goes on without you. History gives us plenty of examples. From Cold War projects to cutting-edge biotech studies, we've seen over and over how information is carefully filtered. And every time, it sparks the same question. If this research is truly harmless, why the secrecy? Why not let universities, scientists, and independent researchers continue the work? The result of these decisions is a public that's left in the dark. We're told to trust the process, but how can you trust something you can't see? That's where the real danger lies. When knowledge is controlled, people lose their ability to make informed decisions, and the truth becomes whatever the most powerful voices say it is. At first glance, government research shutdowns might sound like just another bureaucratic move, something technical, boring, and far away from our daily lives. But if you look closer, you'll realize it affects every single one of us. Research drives innovation. It's the reason we have smartphones, medical treatments, renewable energy, and even the internet itself. Cutting off research is like cutting off the engine that pushes society forward. Now imagine what happens when that engine isn't just slowed down, but deliberately stopped in certain areas. The consequences ripple out into everything: our health, our economy, even our freedom. For example, when climate research gets blocked or restricted, communities lose access to information that could protect them from natural disasters. When AI studies are silenced, we lose the chance to understand the very technology that's reshaping our future. And when medical projects are shut down, cures that could save lives may never make it out of the lab. This isn't just about science, it's about power. Whoever controls knowledge controls the future. That's why these shutdowns are so alarming. They don't just limit what scientists can study. They limit what the public is allowed to know, discuss, and even imagine. And here's the part that should make you stop and think. Once knowledge is locked away, it rarely comes back out in the open. What starts as a temporary freeze often becomes permanent secrecy. That means entire generations may grow up without access to discoveries that could have transformed the world for the better. This isn't fear-mongering. It's reality. And the sooner we recognize that every research shutdown is really about control, the sooner we can start asking the right questions. The U.S. government's decision to shut down or restrict certain research isn't just a budget problem, it's a warning sign. When science becomes a political bargaining chip, the future becomes uncertain for everyone. Progress doesn't pause because of politics, and the rest of the world isn't waiting for America to catch up. While U.S. labs go dark, countries like China and others keep pushing forward in AI, medicine, and renewable energy. That shift could change the global balance of power in ways we can't even imagine yet. For scientists, this moment is frustrating. Years of work can vanish in an instant when funding is frozen. For students, it's discouraging. They see their mentors leave research or projects collapse before results can even be shared. And for ordinary people, it's invisible until one day we realize the drug that could have treated a disease never made it out of the lab. Or the disaster warning system that could have saved lives was shelved before it launched. Shutting down knowledge doesn't stop curiosity. People will always seek answers, with or without government approval. Independent labs, open-source projects, and global collaborations are stepping in to keep discovery alive. Still, the question remains, why should progress depend on individuals picking up the slack, instead of the world's largest economy leading the charge? At the end of the day, this is about more than politics. It's about the kind of future we want. One built on innovation, transparency, and discovery, or one where knowledge is hidden, progress is stalled, and curiosity is treated as a threat.